Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We're excited to have Gervonna Ragland joining us here. Our organizing expert is what she is from Duly Organized. It's dulyorganized.com. She's from New Jersey, and she can help you, of course, in the tri-state area, even virtually, though, with her work and her knowledge and her skills. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hi, thank you. It's great to be back. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Please introduce yourself to our listeners today.
Hello, I am Gervonna Ragland, owner of Duly Organized, located here in Bloomfield, New Jersey. The introductions are always the hard part.
No, she's amazing at what she does. Every room, every area, attics, garages, households, pantries, offices, bedrooms, kitchens, organizing, and so much more. How does that sound? Good?
Fantastic. Better than what I could have.
Beautiful. Well, we are excited to have you here, and it's dulyorganized.com, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. Well, please, let's talk about organization. That's your specialty. Could
Mhm.
you share a little bit details what you want to talk about today?
Well, today I wanted to talk about kitchen organization
Okay.
because for most of us, cooking it's a necessity, right? If you don't want to eat out all the time, you have to cook. And for some of us, it could be a daunting and overwhelming chore, depending on how we're set up in our kitchens. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about kitchen organization and how it can take the stress and the just overwhelm out of cooking. Because if your kitchen is not set up in a way that makes it comfortable for you to be in there, if you're not one who just loves to create culinary delights, it'll make you run. So I just wanted to talk about that today, some of the steps that we can take to get our kitchens in order so that cooking can be more of a pleasure and less of a chore.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's do it. Where do we start?
Oh, as with most organization projects rather, where you start is with decluttering. Yeah. So we want to take all the things that are not necessary out of our kitchen. If we have expired food, go through your cupboards, get rid of expired food, expired spices. Yes, they do expire.
Mhm.
Get rid of you oh, I just went blank. Appliances. Appliances that are broken or ones that you don't find you use anymore. They no longer suit what your culinary tastes are, what you do in your kitchen. And also you want to get rid of utensils that are duplicates, things that just don't make sense to have two or three
True.
or four of.
Uh-huh. Always. Then I feel like, what if I'm going to need it in the future? What if I'm going to need it? Like, I feel like,
Are you really going to need 3 can openers?
no.
4 bottle openers, wine
Yeah.
bottle openers. And I'm saying this because yes, I do see this. And what happens is things get lost in drawers and in cabinets, and people end up purchasing things again, or they get gifted and people will give you a gift and you feel bad and you keep it, but you know you have 10 of them. You just
Yeah.
don't want to say no.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what we want to
Duplicates.
do. Yeah, we want to declutter, get all that stuff out, and you'd be surprised how much room even opens up in your kitchen when you start to do that process. After you've done that, you're ready for the fun, right?
I'm ready for the fun. Go ahead.
So then after you do that, you want to group everything together. So if you have, if you're a baker and you have your baking supplies and your baking pans and your baking things, you want to put those all together, maybe in one cabinet. Maybe you want to put your, I call them your heavy duty cooking
Yeah.
pots in another area. So that way, as you move through your kitchen, if you know, okay, I'm baking a cake, I go to this section. Or if I know I'm going to be cooking a larger meal, you know, all your supplies are going to be in this relative area. In my kitchen, I tell you, it's very, very, very small. So doing this and optimizing my space is key for me to be able to
Move on and to
move
function.
on.
People don't
Exactly.
understand that. And people don't understand when I say, and I choose to spend my time organizing my pantry. I had a huge blowout about this, right? Day before Christmas, day before Easter, sorry, with my boyfriend. You don't want me to come over? You don't want to spend time with me? No, I'm on a little mini ladder. I'm organizing my pantry, take everything out, clean the it, it caused us to break up. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? No, no, no,
No.
not kidding. And that was the factor that led to the whole, oh my gosh, the priority thing. And I'm like, I don't make myself first sometimes. Like, hello, yeah,
Yeah. And whether people believe it or not or realize it or not, but having an organized space is a part of self-care
yep,
because it's going to help you
so true.
mentally deal with your environment. So yeah, getting organized is part of making yourself a priority. And we have to make time for it.
Hmm.
We really do have to make time for it.
Okay,
And
would you think I'd be rude if I said I had to go? There's an emergency for a second. It looks like it's a gas man at my front door. Could you give me a sec? Could
oh,
you
oh
continue
my
to
goodness.
talking about organizing? I don't know why there's a hard hat and a man at my. It's kind of important, but can you
Yes.
continue to talk? Give me one. Thank you
Okay.
for understanding. Thank you.
No problem. And this is when life happens, right? Um, so we're talking about kitchen organization here. And after we get our things together and we categorize our kitchen and start to lay it out in a way that makes sense for how we move in our kitchen, another important thing that we need to have are storage solutions, right? Like I said, my kitchen is very small, so I rely heavily on shelving. And I have one drawer in my kitchen, so I have to make sure that my drawer in my kitchen is organized. So using drawer dividers and things of that nature where you can sort your utensils, the ones you cook with, the ones you eat with, is very important. So as you cook, you know where you can go just to grab something. Um, you don't need to search for
Hmm.
your utensils when they're in, good areas. And this section is for my spoons and this one is for my forks.
So you
And
agree with having dividers? Because some
absolutely.
people, I've been to people's homes where they have everything just thrown in and it's a mess and it drives me crazy. But my mom used to have the old fashioned wood ones, and now
Mhm.
they make like a Rubbermaid type one that's a little thicker. I love it. Yeah, it's like a Rubbermaid. It's like a plasticky. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
I like it better because I can wash it better. The wood one used to get a little warped.
Yeah. And the thing too with that is when it's all together, and let's say you're going to go look for a knife, if you have to move all these things out of the way, there's chances that you may cut yourself on a knife. So it's even safety because if a knife is in a specific section, you're not moving through things and pushing things out of the way and then causing yourself some type of accidental injury. So I wholeheartedly agree in drawer separators. I love in my kitchen, I have wire shelving, one of
Oh,
which I put drawer pullouts on
mm-hmm.
because I needed to maximize my space. So by setting it, usually when we set up drawers, we set them horizontally. I set mine up to go deep into a recess and then put a pullout on it so that then I could pull out and then access the things in the back of this shelf. Um, a lot of times when we do organization things, we have to think outside the box to think of the best way to maximize our space, especially if your kitchen
True.
is only 3 feet wide, like mine. So, just doing things like that is essential. Um, the other thing that I like in my cabinet is dividers for my dishes, for my plates and my saucers, my bowls. So that way I don't have to lift my salad plates to get to my dinner plates. Everything is separated. You pull it out, you unload the dishwasher, and it's not a problem. It takes me 2 minutes, not even to unload my dishwasher and put everything back where it needs to be just by having these simple little things in the kitchen.
Can I?
And go ahead.
Do people still hang pots?
Some people still like to do that. I actually had a client who wanted me to get a pot rack for her and put in her kitchen. Um, would I do it in mine? No, because I'll kill myself. My kitchen's too small. But if that's something that you like and it's the look that you like, I'm not going to tell you not to, especially if it makes it enjoyable for you to be in your kitchen. You use what works for you, and if that works for you, then I'm all for it, especially if you're going to use it and it helps you, you know, be in your space the way you would like to be in your space.
Got it. Interesting. And I apologize. Yeah, there's a neighbor next door getting a gas line run. So the guy needed to ask permission to come to my property. He had the hard hat on and thing. I had the jacket. I'm like, what's wrong? So I apologize. Um,
No, I'd rather it be that than you have to run for your life.
no, true, right? Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Gervonna, just
Absolutely.
remind everyone of how we can contact you.
Absolutely. You can find me at dulyorganized.com. And you can also find me on Instagram, instagram.com/dulyorganized. And you can call me if you'd like at 862-621-9231.
Beautiful. Duly organized. Thank you so much. All right. More about organizing kitchens. What other areas do we tackle next?
Spices. After we've decluttered our
Yeah.
spices,
Do they ever go bad? I think mine are like 10 years
they
old.
they do go bad. And sometimes you'll find that they'll cake inside the container, they'll cake. So it's, you know, get rid of them if they're expired.
Hmm.
I mean, I have a rule with expired stuff, depending on what it is. I could go 6 months, 9 months, but after like that year mark, let's let it go. Start fresh. Because 9 times out of 10, if your spices are not organized, you're going to have 10 bottles of cinnamon anyway. So if you have to get rid of one or two that are expired, so be it. And that's the thing with spices. Sometimes if you have deep cabinets, like I have a small kitchen, but my cabinets are deep, and you have to reach to the back of the cabinet to find your spice, or you're short like me and you don't always want to get a step ladder to look in the back of the cabinet to see if I have garlic powder. You assume that you don't have it and you go to the store and you buy another one. So what I recommend for spices is, I mean, I have this wonderful spice rack that I use from a place called Vertical Spice. I like their product, but to be simpler, just using small containers and bins that fit in your cabinets help make it so much easier for you to find what you need, know what you have, so you're not running to the store constantly rebuying things. So categorize your Italian spices, the things you use to make your sauces and things like that. Put them in one little bin so that when you go in your cabinet, you can take the whole bin down, see what you need, put it back in your bin, in your cabinet, and it keeps everything nice and neat and makes it easy for you to find the ingredients that you need to cook.
Then which we put up on the spaces that we can't get to. What we got to use that space wisely, no?
Yeah. So the things that you don't use often are the things that I put on my highest shelves. Like um spice wise, I use almost every spice that I have. But let's say you only make a certain dish once a year. Maybe the spices that you would put in that dish, you would put higher up. If there's certain specialty cake pans or appliances or things that you don't use every day, every week, maybe once or twice a year, maybe for the holidays, put those up on shelves or in places, or maybe even the down low places that you don't access often. So that way, the things are that you use most are at eye level, arm level, and you don't have to dig and search or climb to get them.
Got it. Okay, good one. Good. And I understand. It's like a look at my friends. They're all getting these tall cabinets that go right up to the ceiling, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like now you got to find the stool. You got to keep it somewhere, right?
Yes.
Oh, it's more storage space, but are you ever going to use it? Because it's so
Yeah,
high up.
it's so high up. So in those instances, if you put that Thanksgiving platter that you use once a year, you could put that up there so that once a year you can get the step ladder out and pull it down. And use that space. And sometimes, I do have one client who has those types of cabinets. They just don't have that much stuff, so it's okay to leave them empty too. You don't have to fill everything with stuff if
True.
it's, so it's okay to leave it empty.
All right. Um, Not to jump the gun, but I just want to ask you about refrigerator organization.
Oh, yeah.
Was that on the list or no? Was that part of this or no?
It is.
Uh,
The refrigerator is part of the kitchen, right? And
yes.
again, in the kitchen, in your refrigerator, things that come in handy. I find when I did my mom's refrigerator, Lazy Susans were awesome for condiments and things
Ah,
that that are in the fridge. You don't want to, again, those things sometimes get lost in the shuffle.
true.
If you don't have the room in the door where a lot of people like to put them, they'll get lost in the back of the fridge. You can't reach them. So a Lazy Susan sometimes, depending on how your refrigerator is made, will help you be able to access those things. You put your little condiments, the ones you want, you spin them around, you take it off, you put it back, and it keeps them from being spread out all over your fridge. Another thing I like in the fridge, I have pull-out bins. I just a couple for where I store my butter. Um, I have bins for my eggs so that they can stack on top of each other nicely. Because refrigerators, you remember they used to have built in back in the day the little egg.
The egg thing, yes, the little egg holes.
Yeah. And now a lot of refrigerators don't have that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to maximize space and even help you stack, I use egg bins. Two of them, I stack my eggs into the fridge. Um, what else do I like in a fridge? I do like bins in the fridge to keep drinks, like bottled drinks contained. So again, you don't have things just wandering all over the fridge that get pushed in the back and then lost forever and then not used, you
Do they
know.
make stuff to put on like okay, I hate when like the milk that is my kids drinks or like even like you put the milk gallon of milk and it's like condensation all goes down on the bottom of the shelf. Is there anything that they make for refrigerators that's specific to it that you can put down or it's just I have to put paper towel I put paper towels down like underneath their drinks so it
Yeah,
absorbs the condensation or whatever we call it.
yeah. I'm gonna say not that I'm aware of. I That's not a problem that I see in my fridge. So it's not something that I looked into solving, but now that
Maybe
you
mine's too cold. I don't know. It
it
gets all
could be,
frosty.
or maybe it's too warm,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
you know. Um, but I have not, but now that you've like put it on my radar, I might have to start looking. Does anybody else have this problem and how can we solve it? But it's not something that I'm familiar with because again, I have not seen that problem.
Got it. Okay. All right. And I hate when people leave like the ketchup and the mustard and the stains and something that drips out. Clean that. Clean it,
Clean
people.
it,
Clean it.
clean it. And again, what helps with that is if you have a bin or something that you put those things in, it helps keep your refrigerator cleaner. Because then if you do have that, you pull the bin out, you take the stuff out, you wash the bin, you don't have to scrub down your whole fridge.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Good point. Good point. What
and
else
the
we
same
got?
thing, and the same things you do in your fridge, you can do in your freezer.
Okay.
Categorize your meats, your fish, your beef, your turkey, so that when you go into your freezer, if you're planning your meal, which is another part of kitchen organization, meal planning, if you're planning out your meal, it'll make it easy for you to go through, see what ingredients you have, so you know what to go to the store to get or what you can just make on the fly because you know what you have on hand.
True. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What else in the kitchen needs our help and our TLC?
What else needs our TLC? Another quick tip, I actually read this somewhere else about keeping our kitchen tidy. Um, if you have a lot of drawers in your kitchen, one way to help keep your kitchen clean and tidy is keep your drawers closed. Keep them closed. Don't leave them open because it's, let's say you're working on your countertop. You got crumbs, you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If the drawer is open,
Echo
crumbs are
further.
going to get into your
Yep.
drawer.
It happens
Then you
sometimes.
have to pull everything out, clean out the drawer. So keep your drawers closed and that'll help keep your kitchen clean and tidy. Also, another tip too is if you're cooking, clean as you go. Like some people will cook a whole meal, let the dishes pile in the sink, and then it becomes this big monster of a project to now clean up all the dishes. So another tip to help you stay organized and clean and tidy in your kitchen is to clean as you go. If you're done using a pot and your dishwasher's not full, wash it, put it, then maybe you could use that pot again rather than pulling out a whole nother pot. That was one of my grandmother's biggest training points with all of her children, and then them with us growing up. Clean as you go, and then that way when you're done in your kitchen, it's just a simple clean up, everything's back in place, and you could go on about your evening after you're done.
Got it. Good one. You know what I don't like in the kitchen? I'll be honest with you. I have tiles. They're probably 20 something years old. The grout, always get the grout. I mean, why do they make floors with grout? It doesn't make sense, because then the dirt just clings in there, and you got like, I don't have vinyl or whatever, but is there anything that you could on the kitchen floors that could be like a straight surface? Is it vinyl? But then the water, what would be a good solution for that?
Well, in my kitchen, in my whole place, we have hardwood floors all throughout. So that is a dream, especially in the kitchen.
Does the food get into the wood?
No.
Or is it like sealed? So
no,
you
it's
have
sealed.
like a flat surface.
It's flat surface. I don't have, crumbs everywhere that now you got to either vacuum them out or, wet wipe them out. And because I have that in the bathroom, and sometimes, yeah. I get it. So I would do they even have tiles now that are a little bit better, where the grout is a little tighter together.
Yeah.
And they look like wood planks or something like that. That'll make a better surface.
Throwing a renovation eventually, one day.
Yeah.
Gervonna, Ragland, thank you so much. How else did you want to leave off for today? Clearly, you're an expert in every house in in a home, even condos, apartments. You do everything: attics, basements, sheds, even, right? You can organize anything.
Yeah. Yep.
Telling you, if I showed you a picture of my spare bedroom, you would think I was a hoarder and a crazy person, because I don't have the time to clean it, let alone the pile problem I have going around my house. But I would show you. I would like to put it on air and embarrass myself how bad it is. It's really not funny if you see it. It's like you're going to look at it and say she has a problem. All my kids' paperwork, bins, clothes. You can't even tell there's a bed in there.
Wow. But you know what? It's really nothing to be embarrassed about, because it happens to everybody.
I'm organizationally challenged. I'm not kidding.
Well, we need to work on that.
Oh, you won't give out your cell phone number on air, will you?
My cell phone number?
Is that, do you give that? I don't know.
That number, the 862 number.
What is it? 8 what?
862-621-9231.
862
621-9231.
Okay, I'm going to send you a picture.
And I'd love to see it.
You will not, but I promised you. I have nothing to hide. It's embarrassing. You're going to see Jill Nicolini is organizationally challenged, and I could use the services of someone like yourself. I do.
Just say the word.
Thank you. Duly organized. Thank you so much. I'm going to share the most embarrassing feed. Here we go. Dulyorganized.com. Reach out. Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.